I know. Oh my gosh. I'm in a disaster zone over here, folks. My Wi-Fi is not having a good day. So only some of my lights turned on, which is good because otherwise it would be a little bit too dark mode, if you know what I mean. Um,
Oh, jeez.
Geez. And then my light here. Oh, aha. Now it turns on. Okay. We're halfway there. But my phone is not working. Smart lights. They're a blessing and a curse, am I right?
Okay, wait. Your audio is desynced. No, wait. No. Okay,
Is
your
it?
audio is desynced for me, and my camera is super blurry. Is anyone else seeing this too? Because I might need to refresh my page or something.
Well, I am seeing you looking a little blurry.
Okay, I will fix it. Dude, we're off for like 2 weeks, and we try to come back, and it's such a
Yeah,
mess.
that's how we roll, boys. Welcome to
All right,
the
one
zone,
sec.
auto zone. Uh-oh. This is going really well. This is going great. Where did Noah go? Ah, geez. Well, anyway, you guys, this is going to be a pretty interesting show because we have like less than 2 weeks to go for an Apple event, and this is the kind of shenanigans that we're pulling here. My goodness.
Okay, I think we're okay. Think I'm doing better.
Yeah. Yeah, how am I doing? Am I still desynced or am I just late? Is that my only issue?
No, your that problem seems to have resolved itself.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, that's momentous news. I personally vote that we start the show now. What before anything else goes wrong.
I think, dude, we'll talk about this at the beginning, but we were off for 2 weeks and we missed all of the stuff that happened. So we got a lot to
Yeah.
talk about.
Yeah. Well, that's true. We do get we have a pretty packed show as a result of us just not being good at our job that we do for free for negative money.
Let's
Anyway,
go for it.
let's do it. Welcome to Dark Mode, the podcast that brings you sage advice from two technology experts. And that's not just what we call ourselves. It's what our moms tell people when their friends try to buy an iPhone 14 Pro in October. I mean August, whatever month it just was. I'm your host, Luke Miani.
And I'm your host, Noah Rubin. On this show, we take questions from listeners, attempt to answer them to varying degrees of success, and maybe even have a laugh or two along the way.
Aha. That's it, unfortunately. So we're out of that. But I'll tell you what we're not out of, Noah, and that is juicy details about the iPhone 15. How do you like that?
Oh yeah, that was a good one. We were off like the last few weeks that we were on, there was like not much happening. So we were just kind
Yep.
of like trying to figure out stuff to talk about. And then we go off
Yep.
for 2 weeks and everything happens. New Apple event, bunch of new rumors, all this other stuff. We have a lot to talk about. We have a lot to catch up on.
And the first thing that we have to talk about is clearly our show is deterring tech events from happening. I think that's the only solution I can think of that would make this make sense. Because whenever we show up, particularly during the summer, it's like, okay, well, what are we talking about? Apple released a new Apple Watch band. Whoa, that's a good day. And then as soon as we go off air, everyone's like, oh, phew, these guys are gone. We can, all right, announce the iPhone event. Go.
Oh, so you're saying it's not a coincidence. There's actually a causal relationship here. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And for that, I deeply apologize because I think we've been unintentionally, but definitely causing tech drought to happen. It's our fault.
Well, it's unfortunate.
Yeah. I'll tell you what's not unfortunate, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
That event invite, am I right? That was a
That
fortunate piece
transition
of
was a little
foreshadowing.
bit unfortunate. I'm sorry.
No, it was good. It was good. Don't worry about it. But I'll
Oh,
tell you what.
geez.
We talked
Okay.
about this on Twitter, I'm pretty sure. Get out of here. We got to talk about this, all right? For those listening along, I pulled up a picture of the Apple event with the what some have called caked up Apple logo. Are you aware of
Oh,
that?
jeez. I did hear that. I also wouldn't call this a picture so much as an animation, just to
Well, that's
really set
fair.
the scene here.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so
Yeah.
there's little particles of dust zipping and zooming all about. It's really rather pleasing, I would say. Overall sense of calm. So yeah, I think that's how I would describe it. But what I'm mainly interested in is those colors.
Yeah, the colors, the rumors, the iPhone colors. Let's talk about it.
There's a lot to dive into here. Well, basically, people have gone and zoomed in on different parts of this picture and have said like, well, those are the four colors that we're expecting. If you look in the shadowy parts, that's black. That's one of the colors. Then there's definitely that gray. The gray is another new color that we've heard about, which we'll talk about that in a second. My thoughts on that rumored Quicksilver fox poop or whatever. I don't know what it was called. And then there's this deep blue, which is well, a light blue and a deep blue, which is curious. And then of course, like a light color, like a white. So that's all the colors.
Yeah, I want to talk about those rumors because we heard about the that dark one that like I forget what the gray one was. It wasn't like a steel gray or something. It had like
Yeah.
some name that people were using for it. Maybe we can find that. But there was the dark one, that gray one, a white one, and then some sort of a blue one. Of course, it's got to be a blue one. Heaven forbid Apple
Oh
like
yeah.
try something different and interesting, but whatever. Another blue one.
Titan gray.
Yes, that's all right. I was thinking like
Yeah.
titanium, but no, it's not Yeah, Titan gray. That's right.
So I mean, yes, first of all, I agree. Disappointed. I know we talked about that sort of burnt orange terracotta sunset color.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that looked good. Oh man, I would have
Yeah.
loved that. But no, Apple's like, oh, we're gonna do blue blue and then the little kind of purple, but they beg to blue. And it's like, come on, man. Get do something more. What about remember Midnight Green or Forest Green or whatever it was called? That color slapped. That was so good.
Yeah, that was a cool color. I'm honestly wondering, how Apple has like the product red partnership for all their red things? I wonder if
Yeah.
they're being paid by like Big Blue to make their pro phones always blue, right?
Ooh.
there's got to be something going on here.
You might be onto something there. We've got the big blue lobbyists, which sounds more like an individual pejorative somehow. But the big
Yeah.
blue lobbyists are pushing Apple for just more and more blue. To what end? What do they want? What does the blue lobby want with all of us? What do we have to do to get it to stop? It's corporate greed at its worst.
I absolutely agree. We need a change. And the thing that annoys me so much, we should also
Mm.
talk about the regular iPhone 15 colors because there were
Yeah,
rumors about that.
go off,
And
King.
they get the fun colors. And the
They
pros
do.
never get the fun colors. I get they're pro, they're professional, they're whatever. But you can have a little bit of fun. You can be a professional, have a little bit of fun, right?
Just a little bit,
A little
a pop
bit.
of color. They think
Yeah.
that the regular iPhone 14, they're like, this is for peasants and children, feeble-minded folk who are amused by the bright dance of colors across the night sky. Like, they think that it's just for these little simple people, and then the real professionals are like, oh, I want black or silver or a very dark blue that's kind of navy so that it blends in with my coat, which is what we're getting now. To
Yep.
hell with it, I say. I want some fun.
I absolutely agree. And so, speaking of which, do you have that rumor about the 15, the iPhone 15 colors? I think I saw something about that.
Yes, you did. And I'll tell you what. I do not like them. I do. Very bad they are, I think. Look, here we go, okay? We've got black, obviously.
Yeah.
That's a black iPhone. I think we'd agree, okay? That's settled. Next, green. That's not green.
That's
This
not
is not
green.
green.
What?
This looks like a breath mint.
Yeah,
This is an Altoid. Come on.
it looks like it's 5% teal and 95% water.
Yes, yes, absolutely. It looks like flat Pepsi. No, not Pepsi. Flat Sprite. Like
Yeah,
decarbonated Sprite. That's what that is.
not
God, that's
green.
terrible. Canada Dry. Come on. All right, now we got blue. Again,
Mm-mm.
that's like the same color.
That's purple. That's like a tinge of purple.
Almost a hint of lavender I see.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
But again, that where's the saturation knob and how do I turn it up? Come on. This is terrible. Yellow. Okay. That looks like sparkling wine.
That looks
What is
like
that?
that looks like urine if you've been drinking a lot of water.
Yes, if you're training for a race, that's what you're going to see. And then pink.
Yeah.
Okay. No. Absolutely not. This looks like a white iPhone that was tumble dried with pink clothes.
No, you're right. It looks like you took a white iPhone and you drew on it in red marker and you smeared it all over and the red like
Yeah.
mixed with the white and it became like no.
This is color transfer. All of these are they're just all white iPhones that somebody put some color next to. And then the color would just got a teeny tiny bit and then it was like, "Ooh, you must get it out."
Yeah, I think
Except for
maybe
the black.
Apple's trying to save money. They're just putting like one drop of paint. Except for
Yeah,
the black one. The black
clearly.
one's like they're throwing everything at it. But maybe
you
that's
can't-
it. The black one is so much.
The thing is you can't do light black.
Yeah.
That's not allowed. It's black or it's not. There is no shade of black. There's no 50 shades of black. If you think about
That's
it.
true. It would just be gray. But I think maybe they're putting so much paint into the black one that they're compensating by putting like one little drop in all the other ones to keep their margins up, you know.
You know what? I figured it out. I figured out exactly what's happening. These iPhone colors are reminding me of something that you always get when you go to the Google office and raid the mini fridge.
The hint waters.
Yes.
Yeah, I was just thinking
iPhone colors. This is not even like juice. This is not even Gatorade. All right. We are talking hint. You know, it's like this is water where, oh, look, it's peach flavored. Yeah, somebody put a peach next to it for 20 minutes. It's like the tiniest amount of flavor.
No, that's what it is. It literally is like the hint water, like the spa water. If you've had that, they literally just like cut up some fruit, they stick it in the water, and it just sits in the water, and maybe a little bit of it gets in there, whatever. You don't even mix it; it just sits in there, and then you like pour out some water. That's what it is with the color. They put something red in the white paint, and they didn't mix it. They just like let it sit there, and then they painted it, and a little bit of it,
just
rubbed off.
Tiniest amount. So now get this, okay? We've already established that Apple was making the bright colored phones on the base model because it was their elite stance, their way of separating the commoner from the rich folk. The townspeople can have their whimsical colors to distract from their miserable lives. Well, the real people of the world will get our drab and boring colors that nobody likes, right? And now, guess what? Now they're tightening the purse strings. This is like the whole like Robin Hood situation. You know, what was the tax collector guy? And he tried to take taxes from the monk, from Friar Tuck. And then they got the money back from the tax collector. This Apple's the tax collector, all right? And let me tell you, the color is your taxes, and you're paying a hefty price this year.
Yeah, that is so disappointing. I think I saw the rumor that I saw was like, these are what the colors are going to be. It was just like, oh, it's going to be blue and green and yellow, whatever. But I didn't see those images that you just showed me. But now I'm like, that's so disappointing. If those are the actual colors, those are the regular colors. And then we saw what the pro colors are going to be. That's a very disappointing year for colors. I mean, come on.
Yeah. I mean, people really should keep track of this. I mean, think about it. It's not even just your phone. Have you ever looked up like hang on a second. 2023 home design trends. And I'm going to just Google image that search term and I'm going to show you what I mean. All right. Look at this. I don't even have to zoom in on any of these pictures, but look at how not saturated these are. Where's the color?
Yeah, a lot of white walls, a lot of grayscale, low
Yep.
saturation furniture. Maybe
Some light
it's the
browns here and
times.
there. I'm actually seeing a lot of Titan gray, a decent amount of like very deep, almost unobtrusive, unassuming blue. I mean, my goodness, what happens if we change this to like 1982? Watch the colors come roaring back. Look at that. That's already more colorful. What about 1998, a special year? Look at all the color.
Yeah, a lot more color, a lot more saturation.
I mean, look at this. Oh gosh, it's opened another tab. Look at this. This is a metaphor for our iPhones here. Look at that. That's the blue. That's the purple iPhone 12. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Very rich purple. We've got a product red iPhone couch, clearly.
Yep.
I'm also seeing iPhone 11 yellow. Very bright, very rich. Look at
How
that.
about that
This is
green?
everything we've lost. I'm loving the green. I'm loving the fact that they put a backsplash in their kitchen where food is, and the backsplash is grass. That's
Yeah.
amazing, incredible. You want to feel like you're cooking on the dirt in a field. I
What was
love
this
the
article
90s.
called? Zoom up, scroll up a little bit.
Well, you know, they're worse for a reason. Also, am I not mistaken in saying that the ceiling here is shiny?
It does look a little bit reflective. No, it definitely is.
I'm kind of seeing a little bit of a, it's like a plastic ceiling. Anyway, I don't like that. But you'll notice this room looks terrible, but there's lots of color in it, and that's the point. So don't worry about that it looks bad. Because I definitely think that our interior design and our devices are more attractive. I think they're better designed and better looking, but they are less colorful, which is a different point. And I would like color to come back, please.
I absolutely agree. And I guess, we'll see very shortly, literally just over a week. We'll see what colors Apple actually comes out with. But it does, those colors, if those mock-ups are to be believed, very desaturated and kind of boring colors for the regular line. And then for the Pro line, I don't know, not looking super exciting.
So I think we've now covered the colors. Would you
Yes.
say? I think that
so.
was a thorough covering of that one almost irrelevant compared to all the other stuff leak.
I think it was more thorough than the actual colors themselves cover the iPhones, I would say.
Oh, and we're going out with the zinger, baby. That's what I like to hear. That was well done. I think we'll all agree to congratulate you on that. That was an excellent work.
Thank you very much.
So I want to talk about the chip for a moment here, because this is something that I feel like didn't get a ton of coverage, but there's actually been some pretty interesting developments here, if I may share my screen. This kind of went under the radar, but a couple weeks ago, there's a, unconfirmed, as they always say, but it's real. There's an unconfirmed A17 Bionic Geekbench listing. Now, if these numbers are to be believed, that shows us here, as you can see, iPhone 15 Pro A17 Bionic with a multi-core score of 7666. Now, I happen to know the Geekbench score for the A16 chip is like 63 something or other. Let me see. Let me confirm that. 5307. Okay, wow. So that's not nothing here. 5307 up to 7666. That's like a 20%, 30% gain.
Wow. Yeah.
That's crazy. I thought that it was more like 6,000. So even then, if we take 6,000 out of 7666, that's 22% faster. That's incredible.
Yeah. That's wow. Yeah. Like we expect these like incremental year over year incremental upgrades to the iPhone. This does seem like a pretty massive upgrade. Are we looking at, I think it's a new process. Is that the reason why we're getting such a big difference?
Um, I think in large part it's going to be due to that, because previously you wouldn't really be able to increase the performance without increasing the consumption of the cores. That's why M2 runs a little bit hotter. Um, however, let me get these. I want to see the different scores for the Apple Silicon chips, because I'm very curious. So an M1 in an iPad Pro is scoring 8588.
Okay.
So think about that. In a MacBook Pro, oh, that's an M1 Pro. That's much faster. But okay, an M1 MacBook Air is doing 8462. So that is not very that means your iPhone is not going to be very far behind an M1 MacBook Air. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I mean, hey, that's Apple chips for you right there. That is pretty crazy.
Dude. You know what's absolutely bananas?
What?
The Intel Core, hang on a second. What is it? The 9980HK. 9980HK, is that it? Yes. Okay. The most powerful Intel MacBook Pro is the 16-inch late 2019 with the 8-core Core i9 9980HK at 2.4 gigahertz. That's the fastest Intel MacBook ever in all of human history, right?
Yeah.
That scores 7383. So, holy Christ, your iPhone is about to be faster than every Intel MacBook ever produced.
Yeah. Yeah,
What
that's
the hell?
one way to look at it, definitely.
Holy
Jeez.
cow, that's insane.
That is no, that's next level. That's Apple chips for you right there.
Yeah. Holy cow, dude. And honestly, I think that a lot of that is going to be due to the new 3 nanometer process. I talked about this in my M3 Max are going to be awesome video from a little while ago. And basically, what we're seeing is, according to TSMC, they claim that you can keep the same power consumption and increase your performance by 15%, or you can get the same performance at 20% less power consumption. I might have reversed the 15 and the 20 there, but basically you can have this trade-off of like, all right, within the same power consumption package, we can make the chip faster. And within that speed, or within the power, I'm getting lost in the sauce here, folks. If you want to keep the same performance, you can consume less power to do it. Now, I suspect Apple would do both, because with a 3 nanometer process, you can also make the chip more dense, which also means that you can give it more power consumption without producing as much heat and using as much battery life. So you can kind of stack those things. You know what I mean? Did that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. I think yeah, I could definitely see Apple doing both, make it more dense, more power efficient, whatever. They'll go for some it's almost like you have some amount of points, right? And you can put them towards
Mm-hmm.
performance, you can put them towards efficiency, or you can do both. Honestly, you can make it, let's say you make it 10% more powerful, and then that ends up using a bit more energy, but like relative to the amount that it was before, it's still less. You know what I mean? Like when you go down to 3 nanometer, you get, you know, however many, you get 20 points, and you can put 10 of them into power and 10 of them into efficiency and get a little bit of both. Personally, I would prefer that Apple put them all into efficiency and battery
Yeah.
life for the iPhone, but they want to have those, those numbers of like, oh, this phone is X% faster than last year's. So they're gonna make it, at least a little bit faster, maybe even a lot, which is what we saw from that
Mm.
article.
Oh yeah. And I think what we're doing with 3 nanometers is it's kind of a little bit of a cheat code. If I can use your sliders analogy, where like let's say you have 10 points, you've got power consumption and uh, performance output, and you basically, when you want to take one from one thing, you have to give something to the other, right? They're dependent variables. So if you want more performance, you got to put more power in, and you're going to then make more heat, right? But with 3 nanometer, you can kind of do both at the same time. You can put more performance with less power and less heat. So you can kind of do everything. You can make it more efficient while using more power, while producing less heat and more performance. And I think that that's going to definitely help address another factor that we have to talk about, which is the battery life.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Absolutely.
goodness.
Yeah, I think, you know, I feel like every year around this time, there's always some talk about battery life, because this is, right before the new iPhone. There's always like the people that are looking at their batteries and they're saying, oh, I should get a new phone so I can have a new battery, whatever. But I feel like this year has been much more talk than other
Oh, yeah.
years. I
Mm.
definitely think so.
I mean, typically battery life. Okay, I'm going to say something. It's a hot take. Every year,
Okay.
better battery life has been a rumor. But really, I think we've been going the wrong direction since the iPhone 11 Pro.
Hmm. How do you
Because
mean?
I, dude, before the iPhone 12 came out, I didn't buy the iPhone 11 Pro when it was new. I held out that, I don't know why I did, but I held out that year. But once the iPhone 12 rumors got cooking, I got a little excited, so I bought an iPhone 11 Pro over the summer, refurbished, and I was like, "Oh, cool. Let me, get to know this phone." The battery life was crazy. It's still, even when new, the iPhone 14 Pro was not as good as the iPhone 11 Pro, which is nuts, or at least as it felt to me.
Yeah, no, I remember like, I mean, definitely the Pro Max is going to do a lot better on battery than the Pro, but I remember like those phones were definitely a lot better with the battery than, the past couple years, especially this year.
Dude, absolutely. I mean, this year this year it's I didn't even think that the battery life was all that terrible. It's just it feels like the battery degradation is happening faster this year.
Yeah, it definitely, I think for me, so I'm at 88% battery health right now, and I am not the best at like charging hygiene or like whatever you want to call it. Like I do leave my phone plugged in overnight, which I know is not great. Whatever. It's on a slow charger. Whatever. I don't whatever. It's a phone. I don't care, like if you care too much about battery life to the point that you're like babying your phone and spending like a lot of like stress over your phone. It's a phone. It's like a tool that you use. Like yes, take good care of it, but like whatever. That's it's just a whole thing. But I will say I think the battery degradation has been worse, and this phone feels, I think, the worst in a while, insofar as it doesn't get through a full day for me. Like it'll get down below 20%, below 10%, in the evening, and I'll still want to use it more. So I'll charge it. I'd say I probably charge it at least 20 to 30 additional percent. Like I start the day at 100%, I have to charge it an additional 20 to 30% to make it through the day, and I end the day, somewhere around 10%, basically.
So you're saying you're not necessarily depleting the battery during the day, but you get to a point where it's low enough that you're like, I'm going to charge it for a while so I can keep going and not have to worry about my phone dying.
Yeah, or I'll get to the point where it's like, it's like it's nighttime, to be fair, but the phone will be at like 12%, and I'll say, oh, I know I still want to use this a little bit. Maybe I want to watch a video before I go to bed, or like send a
Right.
message or something, whatever. So it will get to the point
Just one.
where it's like almost dead, and I'll charge it up a little bit. I'll charge it up to 20, 25%,
Mm.
and then it'll usually go back down under 10% by the time I plug it in at night. So I wouldn't really say that it
Yeesh.
lasts a full day. If I really rationed it and I really tried and I used low power mode, whatever, I could make it last a whole day. Regular use, I'd say it generally doesn't last a whole day for me.
Yeah, dude, honestly, look, I know I've tried to tell you this before, but the Pro Max really, really does make a difference.
I know.
Like you keep describing these danger situations where you're like, your phone's gonna die, dog. You're done. What do you have to live for if your phone dies? We're Gen Z, man. All right. You can't be that's a very cavalier attitude. You're like, oh, it's at 10%. I'll just juice it up a little bit to make sure it doesn't die on me. That's dangerous.
What am I gonna do? Like read a book or something? I mean, come on.
What are you, a
Jeez.
nerd? Go
I know.
outside, kick rocks? Nah,
No way.
not gonna happen. But I'll tell you what, I am at 43%, dog. Granted, I didn't use my phone a ton today, or really that much. I don't know. I just have lower screen time than most anyway. Uh, but I never really get down to this like danger zone. The only times that I do are when I'm traveling, and like the time zone means that the day is longer. Like when you go from East Coast to the West Coast, you extend your day by like 3 hours, right? Because you
Yeah.
go back in time, quote unquote.
Yeah.
So then, with 3 more hours in the day, I start to get a little low, especially with traveling. You're using cell networks, using mapping services, stuff like that. So those can cause some like, I might get pretty low or have to plug in, but it doesn't happen much. And you could really save yourself some struggle there if you came over to the dark side of the force.
Yeah, because even, like there's the everyday thing, which is not a big deal because it's like, oh, I have a charger by the sofa, I have a charger on my bed, whatever. But there are
Mhm.
times where like I'll go somewhere, like if I go, go out somewhere for the evening or whatever. And sometimes I'll think, sometimes I will, sometimes I won't, but I'll always think like, oh, should I bring my external battery? I got like, a MagSafe battery pack. It's the one that,
Mm,
you had some code for or whatever. Gotta
yeah.
use the sponsors, of course.
Hell yeah.
Um, but I got one of those, and I always think about it. I'm like, oh, what percentage is my battery at? How much, if I'm driving there, how much am I going to charge in the car? Should I bring my battery just in case? But it's like pretty bulky, it's a little bit heavy. I don't really want to bring it, but I always think about it. And I'm sure that if I had a Pro Max, I wouldn't really have to think about things like that, to be honest.
No, absolutely. And you know what? I have to just say, it is criminal that in the year 2023, my dear friend Noah Rubin has to carry a battery bank with him. I mean, come on. How how can Apple call an iPhone a Pro if it can't even get through a day doing normal, not even pro stuff? You can't have your cake and eat it too, Mr. Tim Cook here, all right?
That's amateur stuff. You can't even go a full day. That's amateur right there. That's not pro.
Exactly. Look, I know that pro is supposed to be like going that extra step, but you can't get to a pro if you don't have the basics. Okay? Having good battery life is a foundation of anything that it means you can rely on it. I can't rely on an iPhone 14 Pro's battery. You got to bring a battery bank. That would be like if an electric car had 12 miles of range and they said it's all right, just put a solar panel in the put a windmill in the trunk,
Yeah.
hoist a sail, let the wind do the rest of the work. That's not a viable thing.
No, I absolutely agree. I think if I had to take a guess for this year, I think that the always on display definitely hurt the battery life. I personally use it. I know that
Mm,
you don't use it. I'm sure some people don't use it, but a lot of people do. It's the default. It was one of the major new features that Apple announced. So you would expect that people would use it, right? And I do think that the always on display, I have my phone in my pocket a decent amount of the time. The display is not going to be on, but there's a good amount of time where my phone is sitting. Like right now, it's sitting on my desk right in front of me. The always on display is on. It's kind of nice because if my wrist buzzes, I can see what happened without getting too distracted. I can look at the time,
mm.
whatever. But it definitely does use up some of the battery life. And I feel like maybe Apple rushed into it. Like they added this feature without compensating for the additional power draw. And that's my theory for why the battery life,
I think
more
so.
people are complaining this year, but I could be wrong.
That's an interesting thought. It would be ironic if that always on display nuked people's batteries so bad that it's like the number one complaint. But I mean, it makes sense. It's like this chef. He's really good at making a roast, but he's afraid of knives. It's like, okay, all right. I get that he's got this very fancy technique, but he's afraid of knives. He's a chef. That's what chefs do. It's like a pro missing the most basic aspect of professionalism. Oh, he's an accountant, but he only wears Ninja Turtles underwear to work and nothing else.
Yeah, that's hell of an analogy. I I'm looking at my battery life and I'm very confused by this. So I'm looking at my battery for today, which is
Mm-hmm.
so my battery for today, it says that the screen has been on for 6 hours, which seems like a lot. Or I guess I can't
Six
tell what this is.
hours.
No, this is the past 24 hours. So it also includes last night, it looks like. But whatever.
Okay.
In this time period, it says the screen has been on for 6 hours and it's been asleep for 14 hours. So it's a 20-hour period. It's a 20-hour period, and then you can see there's like 4 hours on this side over here that aren't accounted for. But the
Right.
point is, this fourth item, it's the lock screen and home screen. That fourth item there says it's 7% of my battery life, or 7% of whatever this battery, whatever these percentages mean. It's 7%, and it says 13 minutes on screen. Maybe that means that it was 13 minutes of the home screen and the rest of the time was the lock screen. I don't know, but it's saying
What the
it's saying
hell?
7%. It's the fourth biggest battery user in my list of apps here.
Wait,
So
home and lock screen, right?
yeah,
Okay, mine is only 4%.
4%. Interesting.
Yeah, 10 minutes. 10 minutes on screen. I should also say that my total screen on time is only 3 hours 40 minutes.
Okay.
I don't know why my screen time is so low. I feel like it's wrong.
Yeah, three. Well, what is yours the same, like a 20-hour total or something like that?
Yeah.
3 hours on. I don't know.
Although
Maybe you're healthier than I am.
to be fair, the time zones that we are in are such that I don't have very much of yesterday. Mine is mostly just today.
Okay.
So maybe it would probably be more if it were 3 hours ago and I had 3 hours of last night. It would probably be more like 6 or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out like, so mine says 7%. If yours says 4%, I guess that's not that big of a difference. I'm like, maybe I'm wrong. I'm
All right,
trying to
what's your
think
last
about
10
this.
days? We got this is a useful graph, okay? This is
Yeah.
Pro versus Pro Max, screen on, always on screen on versus off. And my you can see how much battery we're using and how many hours of screen on time. So that's actually a pretty good representation. Now I've got one day where I just slightly crossed over 100%, and that was Friday, which was the day that I was driving from New York City. So most of that is screen idle time because I had maps open.
Hmm. I'll show you. So if you look at mine, this is never going to focus, but
Yeah.
this line where my thumb is 100%. So it's not,
Oh.
so that top line is 150%. I don't know how to make this here. Wait, what if I do, there we go. That line
Oh.
is 100%. So all of my
Wow.
days, or almost all of my days, are slightly over 100%. So there's exactly what I was saying before, a little bit over 100%.
I mean, you can really see how much shorter my lines are for the
Yeah.
battery usage. Now, it's worth noting, my average screen on time was exactly 3 hours 42 minutes. So like almost exactly the same as what it was showing for the last 24 hours. And yours was also 6 and in something.
Yeah.
How much
Yeah.
of that is screen idle?
It says average active is 6 hours, average idle is 9 hours.
Holy.
Okay, hang on. The the
What?
the GoPro app is like crazy. Like all these days I'm looking and the GoPro app is like the number one like idle, and I literally opened that app like 2 or 3 times. So that's weird. I don't
Total?
know. I don't know about this.
What?
Look at this. The GoPro app, it says it was in the background for 24 hours on that day.
What?
So that's just there's something's wrong with that app then.
Delete that. What the hell is that?
Yeah, that's I gotta fix that. That's not good.
Holy moly.
Maybe that's my no, I just downloaded this app like a week or two ago because I got a GoPro. But that was not the problem before. Maybe it's the problem now.
Interesting. I also, okay, I want to take a quick detour. This is such an interesting comment because I think I have a lot of comments on this comment. It's a comment about a comment.
Hmm.
This is something that I see a lot. Should I get a new Apple Watch this year or should we wait for next year? And it's funny because, dude, the Apple hasn't touched the Apple Watch design apart from the Ultra, obviously, in ever. They've only ever tweaked it.
Yeah, I mean, you could make an argument about like Series 4. It fundamentally looks the same overall. It
Right. It's the
does
same
it
design
does
language, but it does look a lot. It's definitely better. That's the
yeah.
design tweak that
Yes,
I was
it's a
alluding to.
tweak. Whatever. Series what was it? 7 where they
Hmm.
had made the screen even bigger.
Yeah.
Still a tweak. It doesn't change the overall appearance of the I agree. They haven't changed the overall appearance of the watch really since it came out. I don't know how much you would really expect them to, but I agree with you. But I will say, have you heard any rumors about the Apple Watch this year?
Not
I've heard
one.
nothing.
That's
Not
why
no
I was thinking
bands, no
about that.
colors, literally nothing.
Nothing. Dude, it's weird. I don't understand how, like, is the Apple Watch Series 9 just like irrelevant? Does nobody care about it anymore? All right, here we go. Wednesday, August 30th, we have a Apple Watch Series 9 what to expect. All right. Let's go through this and play a game of does this matter at all? All
Yeah.
right. Okay. Processor improvements. Wow.
Okay.
So I guess Dude, what? It's not even. I thought it was going to be based on 3 nanometer. Nope. According to Bloomberg's Mark Gurman, the Apple Watch Series 9 will feature an S9 chip that's built on the same technology as the A15 chip. So the updated chip is still 2 years outdated.
That's unfortunate. And like, if a more powerful chip like enables new features or whatever, then that's cool. But I don't have any issues with the current performance. Like for current features and stuff, it's never felt like slow or laggy or anything like that to me. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, right now, even the Apple Watch Ultra, as far as I'm aware, is on the S8 chip, right? So
Yeah.
the S8 chip and the S7 chip and the S6 chip are all the same.
Right.
It's the same chip, which is really funny if you think about it. But the S6 chip, I believe, is like A12 or 13 based. X6 chip, A18, is it? I don't know. Someone in chat will tell me. But like, if we're basically running on a 4-year-old foundation for the chip, like honestly, I don't care about that at all. Okay, battery life. Any update to the processor could potentially result in small battery life improvements. So that's not even a leak. That's just a but maybe it could be better.
Yeah, it's like theoretically it would be
Yeah.
better, but we have no thought one way or the other. And I will say, like, sure, it would be great for the regular Apple Watches to get improved battery life because their Apple still quotes like 18 hours for those, right?
Nonsense.
They could do a bit better, but like the Ultra realistically doesn't need better battery life. Like I'm not
Oh,
worried
yes,
about
it
battery
does.
life.
Oh,
What?
I'll take it all.
Oh my. Okay,
I
fine,
want
but
all
no,
of
but
it.
you're talking about does it matter? Like, would you buy a new Ultra if they said the battery life was 10% better, 15% better? Would that convince you?
Yes. Just kidding.
Seriously?
No, of
No,
course
come
not.
on.
No, that wouldn't be enough. I need something else. But I might just have that. A new rumored color. Pink. Whoa. Who cares if it's running an irrelevantly faster chip and a hypothetically better battery that we don't actually know about? It's pink.
Okay. Is it
People are
actual
saying it's
pink?
like rose gold or something.
Okay. As long as it's not white with one little drop of pink in there.
Oh, I'm certain it would not be. It'd be like the iPad Air pink. You know, that like very pale, sad one.
Ugh, no, those are
Yeah.
no, I don't. That's not good.
And then, so let's keep going down the list, right? We've got, wow, this is a very interesting. Okay. Processor improvements, hypothetical battery, new pink color, new bands. A new band that is made from a woven fabric material with a magnetic buckle. Okay, cool. A new band that would work on anything.
Yeah.
Yay. Next, 3D printed stainless steel chassis. So
Okay.
they apparently are using a new 3D printing process instead of CNC machining it. So cool. Won't even notice the difference on that one. That's a great feature, one that you can't even tell.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, here's my theory is that like this year the software is actually pretty big in a way that it hasn't been for a while, right? They're changing how the home screen works with those like widgets or whatever they're calling them, but like they're like putting the widgets on the home screen and all that stuff. They're doing. I'm really looking forward to the bike sensor integrations. Personally, I'm gonna get some sensors for my bike.
Oh yeah,
Whatever.
you are.
There's actually like a bunch of stuff on the software side that they're doing, which they haven't like usually the software updates are pretty minor. They're like decent upgrades, but like minor. This year it's definitely bigger than previous years. So maybe they're kind of going a little bit less on the hardware side and hoping that the software, obviously everyone gets the software, but if they're like the new Apple Watches with the new Watch OS and like that's how they market it, maybe you know the software will push them a little bit further. I don't know.
I think that's an interesting theory. I don't necessarily think you're wrong. I think it is very Apple to be like, you're fine on the features you got. You don't need any more features. We got new software features, all right? And honestly, I don't, you don't hate the player, hate the game, but I don't like the player either because they're the reason why we don't get any interesting Apple Watch updates ever.
Yeah, I don't even know what would you want, right? I feel like it's kind of maybe not for you, but for me, it's kind of like the iPad Pro problem. It's like, what would I really want that would
Mm-hmm.
make a difference? Like the Ultra did it with the battery life, the fact that this thing easily lasts 24 hours, obviously longer than that, but like with the old Apple Watch, I had to charge it every night, and if I forgot to charge it one night or I didn't have a lot of time, it would like mess me up basically. This Apple Watch will never mess me up. So that
Mm-hmm.
was like a big one. Action button, whatever, other nice things too. But like, what would it take to really make a difference at this point? Do you have thoughts?
You know what? You got me. I got nothing. I don't know. I really don't know. And the same thing with like, speaking of the Apple Watch Ultra, there's a rumor that there might be a new Apple Watch Ultra with, the faster processor and a new color. I don't care about that.
Yeah, I did like the that rumor with it was like a like that
Mm-hmm.
dark gray, whatever the it's the color that I had at least. I think we both had on the Apple Watch Series 5,
Yeah.
right? The darker color. Like this is the lighter color, the dark one. It looked really nice in the mock-ups, but I'm not going to buy a new Apple Watch just for the color. Like that and the processor,
Mm-hmm. No way.
that's not going to do it for me.
Yeah, honestly, I have a feeling that this year's event is going to feature just an absolute flyover. We're probably going to start with the Apple Watch. I think almost nobody's going to buy it. I'm not going to review the dang things. If it's like this, for a better battery, an hour more of battery life, maybe, plus a faster chip. Like, what am I going to do? Be like, oh, look at that. I can scroll up and down more smoothly. Like, no, that's not worth buying.
Yeah, I think okay, there are a few people in the comments making a good point. New sensors. I feel like for the Apple Watch, a new sensor is like the big thing. So people are saying maybe like a better temperature sensor that can do more like more do more stuff with it, detect like, maybe detect if you're sick or something. Someone said blood
Mm,
pressure or like blood sugar level. That would help a lot of people. For me personally, that wouldn't justify getting a new one because I'm not worried about my blood pressure or my blood sugar content. But for a lot of people, it definitely would. It's the same thing
mm.
like when the Apple Watch series, was it the 6 or the 7 that added the pulse oximeter, the blood
I think the
oxygen?
6.
Okay. So whenever that was
Maybe.
added, I was like, ooh, that's a nice feature. I would like it, but it wasn't enough for me to upgrade. But now that I have it
Mhm,
on this watch, I'm like, oh, that's nice that I have it. It's keeping an eye on that too. So I feel like if there were some like major new sensor that like unlocked something that I really cared about or something that was really fundamentally important, maybe it could be a reason. But I feel like it's one of those things that it's like, oh, that's a nice thing. I'm excited to get that eventually, but it's not for me. It wouldn't be a system seller. For some people
mhm.
who are more worried about whatever that sensor measures, it absolutely would be.
That's true. That is a good point. But I will say we typically do see rumors about sensors. Like we heard rumors about the pulse oximeter. I don't think that there's been anything for this year alluding to like, oh, Apple testing a new sensor. Like the thing about the thing about some of the features is that they are hardware based or software based, and you'll definitely hear about hardware based stuff. Like remember the double bubble camera? We knew that there was going to be a camera and a sensors particle beam illuminator, whatever the heck it is. You know, but we didn't know how they were going to use that in software to make the dynamic island. So sensors are something that tends to leak fairly frequently. I think I could. I don't remember what all the sensors are and when they came out, but I remember seeing like, oh, it's supposed to have fall detection this year, and then they're like, oh, now it can detect your falls. See, so I don't know. I'm the CCRP is not there.
No, I agree. Definitely, that would be more of like a hypothetical. Like, what would
Right.
it take to upgrade? But this year, yeah, we haven't heard anything about a new sensor, so I wouldn't expect one. No.
Somebody said Touch ID on the side button, which wow, I really like that idea, but I don't think it would justify. I don't think Apple would recuperate their costs because realistically, your iPhone you unlock hundreds of times a day sometimes, but your Apple Watch is usually about once a day. So it's probably not worth the expense to have Touch ID on the Apple Watch.
Yeah, I don't really see a point because like when you unlock it, you put in your probably 4-digit passcode, and then the like Apple's philosophy is that if your watch is unlocked and it's on your wrist, then it's considered like a secure device. Like if
Right.
you can approve passwords on your Mac by using your Apple Watch. And you
Mm-hmm.
don't put your password in your Apple Watch or anything, you just hit the side button twice. So I don't think it really would make sense with Apple's philosophy to add Touch ID, because now they're suddenly saying like, are they going to start requiring that to approve other things, or like unlock your iPhone? You have like the face mask partially on, or like your face is partially hidden and it's able to unlock. It just treats your watch as a safe device when it's on your wrist. I don't think it would make sense for them to add it to the Apple Watch.
I mean,
Honestly,
maybe they could make it. I mean, I could think of a couple software ways you could use that. I don't know that any of them are particularly helpful, but like obviously, when you put the watch on, you can use Touch ID. Although, if you do that with an iPhone, if you first boot it up, you have to put your password in to enable Touch ID. So theoretically, eventually, you would still need your passcode on the Apple Watch. But I digress. So putting the Apple Watch on, you need Touch ID. That's fair. Maybe unlocking a nearby device, I could see that being a thing. I could see them using the Touch ID for payments. Like I've had certain payments where it says confirm on Apple Watch, and you could do Touch ID on that. Maybe you could choose to have like have messages come like blurred out, or where it just says iMessage and then you hit Touch ID and it unlocks it. I don't know. There's some ways you could do it, but I don't really think any of those are that compelling to get me to like upgrade or anything.
yeah, I think a lot of those things like confirming payments you can already do. Like theoretically, it's less
Well, yeah, but
secure.
exactly.
Sure,
Exactly.
theoretically it's less secure. Fine. The other thing I will say is that like if you put an Apple Watch on your wrist and then you unlock your iPhone, it'll unlock the Apple Watch too. So if you really don't want to type in your password on your Apple Watch for some reason, you can just unlock your iPhone with Face ID or Touch ID or whatever, and it'll unlock
Yeah.
the Apple Watch. So
So yeah, I mean, I can't think of anything that I would really want. That's the thing that's weird. All right, we're in this weird phase where for the Mac, the iPad, and the Apple Watch, and honestly the iPhone, I think that I can't really tell you what specific feature I perceive as missing. Something tangible that I want changed. It's very hard to think of those. I know that something needs to change, but I don't know what. you know?
Yeah, that's just, we talked about it before with the iPad especially, but that thing of like, these things get refined so much year over year
Hmm.
that like eventually they reach a state like it's not just you can see it in two ways. One, you can see the iPad, right? If you look at the iPads realistically, look at the iPad Pro since 2018. There hasn't been
Hmm.
anything, that big of a difference. But even before then, you can look and see, they were making like the 2018 was a pretty big update, but like, in the years before that, it was pretty much the same when they introduced the iPad Pro, the 10.5-inch, whatever. So that's one way. The other way is you can look at like compare the iPad to other tablets or compare the iPhone to other phones. There are some like, there's like the folding phone, sort of like the experimental branch. But if you look at like the typical phone, you compare like the iPhone to the Pixel to the, Samsung Galaxy something or other, they all are very similar. Like, yeah, there's
Mm.
differences, the types of cameras, the amount of cameras, the software experience, but like the core features of a phone are very similar across all these things because they've progressed to the point like we know what we want a phone to be, and there's only so much more, so much further you can go from there. And I agree with you that the iPhone, the iPad, and the Apple Watch are more or less in that position.
Yeah, I mean I guess that's where Vision Pro comes in, right? Like if we've gotten to a point where all the phones are the same and we know what we want and that's just, a phone is what a phone is, at some point you have to say, okay, well, we've taken this physical implementation as far as we can go. Now it's time for something different.
Yeah, absolutely, because like we look at the Vision Pro, which is we're getting closer. It's I don't even like
Hmm.
think about it, but it's like, we're every day is one day, whatever. But
Less than a
but
year, theoretically.
yeah, I mean they said early whatever early 2024 means, but
Yeah.
it's
Early
definitely,
as in before Christmas.
yeah, I hope
Any
so.
time before Christmas.
Yeah, but it's like you look at the Vision Pro and you can think of 100 things you'd want to improve about that. Get rid of the magnetic charging cable with the external battery. Make it less. People said it was heavy. Make it lighter. Make it less of like a this big goggle thing on your head and more of like
Yeah.
a pass through like a like glasses essentially. But like you can think of so many ways to improve that, and we haven't
Hmm.
even tried it yet. We haven't even seen people
Yeah.
try it. We've heard of people who tried it, but we haven't even seen, we've seen marketing materials and that's it. Like when you experience it, I'm sure you'll think of another couple dozen things that you would improve about it. So that's what makes it very exciting, that
Mm.
it's a new thing, and there's a lot of place to go.
That's a really good point. I really like that. Because, like, yeah, I mean, the iPad Pro, as you mentioned, not much has changed in about 5 years, and I still can't think of what I would change about it. But the Vision Pro hasn't even freaking launched yet, and I've got a laundry list the length of my arm of
Yeah.
features that I would add or remove or tweak or change. Like, I can envision a decade's worth of year over year improvements for that thing, and it hasn't even come out yet.
Yep, exactly.
Dude, I really am excited for that, and I hope beyond all hope that Apple will be smart enough to, given the way that the Vision Pro has been implemented, give it a way to record its screen. Both in the sense that it would make it way easier for me to film a review of it, but also because that's how people are going to get on board with this. People are going to want to see what it's like to have that on. It's not like a phone. It's harder to market than a phone because a phone is a thing that we look at all the time. We look at it. So, oh, the screen that I'm looking at is nice. The design that I'm looking at is nice. The pictures that I'm taking and looking at are nice. But the Vision Pro isn't about looking at, it's about looking through. And it's harder to show people that without having a visual. So I really hope they put a screen recorder in it. And I really hope that they're able to communicate what it's like to use. because it's going to be harder to advertise than, oh, look at this barely saturated new iPhone that comes in barely pink.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, because I think Apple has done they've done, I think, a decent job with the stuff that we've seen so far, but there's a very big difference between, like, in the marketing material, we see most of it from a third person perspective. So that's sort of, you see it from the perspective of a different person that exists in that universe. So you see both the screen, the digital stuff, and the person that's like interacting with it, which is not what it's like when you're using the thing. When you're using the thing, it's a first person perspective of the content. So I absolutely agree. I'm sure there will be some way to do video capture. I mean, I hope, I'm sure there will be, but like, that's the way that you really give people, if you see it from their perspective, with their hand doing whatever gestures and like making it in their field of vision, whatever, that is really how you communicate what it feels like, more than, you know, a third person camera angle of someone interacting with it, you know, somewhere in the room. I definitely agree.
You know what we're going to unfortunately have to agree upon as well?
What's that?
That this episode of Dark Mode has come to an end.
Unfortunate, but you know, we gotta end it.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, it's bittersweet, because, well, mainly sweet, because from now things are only going to get more exciting. Next week we're going to be a week out. We're going to be getting so excited. Or no, sorry, not a week out. Next week we're going to be like literally 2 days from the event. So tensions will be high. And then on event day, we'll see you again to watch the event live. That's always fun. And then the weekend after that is going to be recapping all the details, getting ready for shipment. And then the week after that, we're going to have the freaking phones and get to talk about them. So the next three shows, 4 shows if you count the event day, are going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Well, you'll get the bingo boards. Someone said in the chat, bingo boards. We're gonna get the bingo boards out for the show. We got a lot to talk about coming up here, so very exciting.
And less exciting is now actually ending the show. Thank you guys so much for watching. I've been your host, Luke Miani.
And I've been your host, Noah Rubin. We'll see you next week, and have a great night.
Take care.